Since our singing voices didn't make it to Nashville,
we figured we would use our voices in a completely different way.
we're two friends hanging out, sharing about our businesses.
Our journeys to motherhood, things we love, and making time to do life.
Together. This is
Two chicks and a glass. Hey y'all! I am LaShonda Hollins, and I am one half of Two Chicks and a Glass.
Hey y'all, I'm Angela Robertson, and I'm the other half of Two Chicks and a Glass.
Yay! And we are so happy to be here to talk to you today about stress during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has taken all of us out of our element, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today, just how it's affected us, how we've been coping, all of the good stuff, and hopefully giving some good advice along the way. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you what's in my glass tonight. So of course, I told you all that I love a good red wine. And so tonight I'm having one of my favorite wineries. You can't see it. This happens every time if you're watching on YouTube, but it is called French Kiss by Kissing Tree Vineyards, and they are out of Waco, Bruceville, Eddy, Texas, but very, very close to Waco, Texas. And one of my favorites, the winery and vineyard is actually owned by a friend of mine, one of our really good friends. And the French Kiss is just to me, it's a medium-bodied red, deep red wine, even though I say medium bodied, but very fruit forward. And it's just, to me, it lands perfect on the palate. It is not too dry, not too acidic. And it's something that I enjoy to drink. It's one of my favorites. It's actually the one Nick had when he visited Angie. Remember, he was like, oh, I don't like that, I don't like that. And I was like, okay, let me give you my good wine then.
I think he kept drinking it.
And I pulled this one out, and he was like, I love that one. And we drank all the bottles of my French Kiss.
Yeah, we did.
So what I would like to do is we're going to share the link for French Kiss in the YouTube video. It's going to be on the Kissing Tree website, so we'll make sure that you get that. But I would love for you to try it. It's one of my favorite reds. Like I said, light-bodied, fruit-forward, lands perfect on the palate, good with steak, good with pastas that are tomato-based. So it is going to be something that you'll really enjoy.
That sounds amazing. I'm like, I think I would love a sip of that now, y'all. I'm almost able to have my sip of wine. By next episode, your girl should have a glass in her hand. So
I can't wait for you to get a chance to have a glass of wine with me. I can't.
Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. So let me share the lip color that we have to go with the wine tonight. Tonight's lip color, or today, depending on what day you are actually listening to this or time of day it is, Cocoa Teeny. So Cocoa Teeny is an amazing lip color. So it is like a brownish red. That's the way I'm going to describe it, just for your ears so they can hear it really well. It is a beautiful matte. It's a velvety matte that goes on liquid, and it's going to dry as a matte. As always, it's called an enduring lip color. So the enduring lip color, it's perfect for sipping wine because it's going to stay on your lips and not on your glass all night long or day. I mean, if you're day drinking, hey, cheers to you.
No judgment.
No judgment. Judgment-free zone here. But this is a pretty brown. It's pretty on everybody. Like, I think, Shonda, you got this color, huh?
I do have that color.
Yes. Cocoa Teeny, it's amazing. And I mean, it sounds like a fruity drink, too. So if you're having your wine and let's say that you're in a martini mood, too, you can just say you've got Cocoa Teeny on your lips, wine in your glass, and call it a day.
There you
go. This one is Cocoa Teeny, and I'll, of course, have the link below if you are on YouTube.
Cheers to Cocoa Teeny and red wine blends.
Oh, yeah. Cheers.
All right. So we know what's in our glass and we know what's on our lips. So now, how the heck have we been doing during this pandemic? Oh my gosh.
Whew.
First of all, it caught all of us. I'm like, nobody expected something like this to happen to us. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So how, I know that you've been pregnant throughout most of the pandemic. How have you like responded to the pandemic? Like, how's your mood been? How has it affected or changed your life at all?
In a major way, because I was pregnant for pretty much all of it so far except for now. But back when I was pregnant, one of my part-time jobs is a gym. So that was the way that I was physically able to get in front of people. My other job now, I mean, I do that from my home. um but I also was having like parties, makeup parties. And my big thing was doing vendor events where I would go and I would be able to put makeup on people's faces, let people try the makeup, try the skincare, go to the gym, for that job, and be able to physically see people. Also, I'm a big social person. Like, I'm a big social butterfly for the
You
most
and me
part.
both. You and me both.
Yes. Like, and you mean to tell me that I can't go sit down next to my friend and like have dinner with them, and have people at our house? Like, it literally rocked our world, my world, Nick's world. And when it first happened, it was around my birthday.
Yeah.
So if y'all don't know, I celebrate my birthday all month long. Your girl goes down. It gets down for my birthday. And this past year, my birthday dinner was in my backyard with my neighbors. Like, they were the only people at that point because it was at the very beginning. I had just found out that I was pregnant. So we couldn't be around people. And normally I would have like these big blowdowns, like, in my backyard, invite all the people over. We'd have this massive crawfish bowl. But so for me, rocked my world.
Yeah. And I think that's the exact same for us. We luckily we bought our house in November of
Mhm.
last year, and then we were able to have our housewarming in February. And it was really exactly, what I think is God knew exactly what I needed, because the rest of the year we were not going to have anything.
Mhm.
So February we were able to have our housewarming and we had a lot of friends over, and then boom, the pandemic hit. And if you know me, like, I like to host parties. I like to do, vision board parties and friendsgivings and ugly Christmas sweater parties. And so right now, of course, it's very hard for me because I'm like, I really want to have like a friendsgiving and an ugly
Yeah.
Christmas sweater party. I haven't been able to host at my house. I feel like it's taken me out of my element a little bit as far as
Mhm.
being social.
Mhm.
And of course, I'm okay with being comfortable with being by myself at times. But when
Right.
you're a social person, when you're an extrovert, it does get old fast. Like, you also need um, to be around somebody, or you like the feeling, the energy that you get from other people. There's just something. One of the things that I learned in a class that I took a science of well-being class, and one of the things that makes us happy, and it's okay, is social interaction. Like, social
Mhm.
interaction is something you may not even realize that it makes you happy, but when you get around people that you love and that are fun, and that just bring out something different in you, you enjoy that. And when you don't have that, I think that's what COVID has taken away. I think from both me and you, like, we haven't been able to do a lot of the things that we typically do within the year. And
Exactly.
and also with, like you said, with like your job and hosting work things, I actually had planned to host my do one of my first vendor tables, and it was going to be, I was so excited about it. I was so excited. It was at a sip and shop, and it was at a winery. And y'all know I love
Yeah.
wine. I love wine. I love going to vineyards and things like that. So it was going to be at a wine vineyard outside, and I they still had the event, and I was thinking about still going, But around that time, I found out we actually caught COVID. And so, of course, I'm not going to go that I don't believe in spreading the virus. Like that's one thing that I don't want to do. I want to make sure that I'm safe. I want to make sure that I'm taking precautions and doing everything I need to do. So back in July, when I had the opportunity to be at that event, I feel like COVID stole that from me. My first vendor event. Not only was it hovering over, like I actually, me and my husband had actually caught it, and so we were battling it here at home. So it's definitely impacted our lives in crazy ways. One, just having it, but two, taking us away from those things that we enjoy doing also.
And, I'm glad that you were, able to share that y'all did have it because to me, like, kind of knowing back then what y'all were going through, that's a whole nother level of stress
Yes.
that I know that you and him had to deal with. So tell me about like how that made you feel and like how that even sets you up right now, like with your feelings.
It's honestly, it was very scary. It was one of the scariest times for me personally. I can't speak for Emmanuel, but it was so scary for me because you see people. We had gone home to Mississippi. We don't know how we caught it. My dad was in an accident, and that was why we left Texas to go to Mississippi. It was a serious matter, or else we would not have left. We would have still been here and been safe. But we traveled 10 hours, so we don't know if we got it while getting gas, using the restroom, or whatever the case may be. And then we don't know if we caught it from someone at home either. But it was so scary because when we got back and we tested positive for COVID, one, I wanted to make sure that my dad was safe and my in-laws were safe because we had seen them. Like we had took precautions and wore our mask and everything, but we were in their home and they hadn't seen us in so long, so they still wanted to hug and things like that. So one, worried about our loved ones and making sure that they're safe. But two, when you're going through all of the symptoms. Like I literally had every symptom except for a fever, which is so strange. I had everything
Right.
else but the fever. And you see people, there were people back home in Mississippi that were dying from the COVID virus. And so to know that you're going through it and other people are losing their lives, you just want to continue to trust that it's not going to get that bad for you. But it is scary that it could potentially get that bad for you.
Right.
Luckily, we didn't have any extreme respiratory issues. We didn't have to go into the hospital for any lung issues or breathing issues or anything like that. But I did have all of the other symptoms that come along with it: the chills, the headaches, the cough, and runny nose, all the flu-like symptoms. I had pretty much all of that.
Right. And that's a scary thing. Like, and the things that, like you're saying, it's like you never think that it's going to happen to you. And then, like, I know for us, finding out that that happened to my best friend, I'm like, it was almost as if I had it because I'm like, I
Y'all
was
were
so
texting
worried.
every day. Y'all were like, "Are you okay today? Are you
Yeah.
okay today? Like, are you?"
Yeah, because I mean, in like our hometown, in Mississippi and in a small area, people are like, they're still dying down there,
Yeah,
and it's still so serious. And it's like some people, you know, when it's not happening to you or people that then it's easy to overlook
yeah,
or easy to say, hey, they're blowing this out of the water, it's over exaggerated. But when somebody like it happens to, like, yeah, it's just a whole nother level of
yeah,
life.
of life and of fear. And I
Yeah.
think that's with anything. A lot of times people blow things off until it happens to them, or they're
Right.
not as concerned about it until it hits home for them. And it was it's crazy because we took all the precautions. Like I said, we wore the mask, we washed our hands, we traveled with sanitizer and bleach wipes, and when every man would pump gas, I'm like, here, grab it with the bleach wipe.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
we were very cautious and took all the precautions, but somehow we got close to somebody that had it or that was asymptomatic. And I think that's how we got it. I think we were around somebody that was asymptomatic and probably didn't know they had it, because even when we got home, nobody in our family, like, it's a blessing. Like,
Right.
nobody in our family had COVID symptoms. The whole 2 weeks that we were down and we were sick and recovering, nobody from our family got COVID-19, and we've been there for at least 5 days.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And I'll share this, I feel like I maybe I told you, I'm not sure, but I know when I was pregnant, I was super cautious. Like, y'all, I was not leaving my house. Like, I couldn't go work out. I couldn't do anything. That was like the first 2 months. And then after that, like, they opened our gym and we had very strict rules there. So, we had to be, all the stations were exactly 6 feet away. We only had a specific amount of people that were allowed in the studio. We sanitized between classes. You wore a mask all the way up until you got ready to start your class. After class was over, we put mask on. So super sanitary. So at one point, like, I stopped getting my nails done, stopped getting my brows done, was not doing any of the things. So this was about maybe July or August, maybe something like that. And I made the decision, okay, I need to go get my brows done. That was it. The only thing I went to go do. And a week later, actually, it was exactly 14 days later, I got a call saying that I had been exposed to it because the lady that did my brows, she ended up having it. So I think what's so interesting about it, and I guess the stress that's related to it, is that it can happen when you're the most cautious, whenever you're following the rules. And
Exactly.
like, y'all were following the rules. And I think people kind of need to know that you can follow the rules and still get it. Like, it's not that you're just negligent, or, you're out there and you are partying, or you're doing all of the unsafe practices. You can be safe and still get it.
Exactly.
So that in itself is super stressful. Fortunately, I went that Friday that I found out and got tested. I didn't have it at all. But, knowing that you had it and it wasn't the case for you, and I was exposed to it when I was super safe, like as safe as could be. I just think it's just an interesting thing to think about.
It is. It is. So I would how do you think that we talked a little bit earlier about how it kind of changed our social interaction. Do you feel like it's changed your mood at all? Like, your emotions? Like, has there been any anxiety or depression or um, just loneliness?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like loneliness, there was fear and anxiety. And I'll share this because I know that you already know, but even leading up to my baby shower, I ended up making the decision to have a virtual shower just because I thought it was going to be safer. But because I had not been exposed to people in so many months, I started to get severe anxiety about the thought of having people at my house. And these are like my friends, y'all. Like my virtual shower was LaShonda, her husband, my sister, my brother, and my nieces, and my sister-in-law. So really a small amount of people. But at the same time, whenever you completely cut off your social interaction of people, and then you're kind of thrown in it, which honestly, it worked out great. I'm so glad that y'all did come. Like, it was great. But I had to physically, like, let them know how I started to feel. Like, I really am excited and I want y'all to come, but I want y'all to know that I'm really anxious and I have started having nightmares. And I think that that is kind of a normal process for people that start to get anxiety or start to get stressed out about things, and being taken out of something and then being thrown back into it. It literally, it physically gives me anxiety. And now that I have a baby, and with this season coming up, my anxiety is at a whole nother level when it comes to people being around her.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, my mood is completely different because I'm a social butterfly. So, you don't expect me, to feel this way. And I have dealt with anxiety in big crowds of people before. I've always dealt with that where, if there's too much going on in a room and I don't feel that I'm in control, then I will shut down, and I physically had to leave places like I will ditch because I get that overwhelmed. So that's happened to me a lot in my life. So now having this, it's like I just have to remember to talk it out,
Yeah.
and find ways to cope with the stress. And I know that we're going to go into that, but that's been my experience. Is my mood, it's almost like slight panic,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and that's just the way it's felt for me. What about for you?
I definitely have, at the very beginning when all of this started, I definitely experienced some anxiety behind it. I have, like you, have a history of having experienced anxiety and panic attacks. Mine doesn't typically come from large crowds or anything like that. My anxiety would typically stem from it is a control thing, but it's usually from a place where I'm not expressing myself,
Mm-hmm.
where I feel like I'm having to suppress my feelings or my emotions, and then I'm pushing them further and further and further and further in. And then it comes out in a panic attack where I lose complete control of everything that's going on around me. And so I started to experience like some anxiety. I didn't have any full blown panic attacks, but I did have anxiety just about going into the grocery store or going into any store. Like whenever we would, before I started doing completely curbside
Mm-hmm.
or delivery, and I still do that now. I don't know when I went in the grocery store last, but there's just something about the grocery store. I don't know. I've gone in other stores, but they're
Yeah.
quick. I'm in and out. I'm not in for an extended amount of time. But I would go into a grocery store, and Emmanuel told me, he's like, you're physically running. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have the cart and you're running through the store. I didn't know I was running. Or he said people would come and I would like immediately like get away from them. It was obvious.
Yeah.
So there was this anxiety there. Sometimes I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then when I'm home or after I've gone out, I feel tightness in my chest. It's like, and then I'm like, oh God, is there something wrong? Like, is it my lungs? Like, is it like, I
Right.
immediately go to what's going on. And Emmanuel's like, babe, like it's not gonna happen that quick. Like your lungs aren't gonna shut off as soon as you as soon as you
Right.
come back from the store. But I definitely would experience some of that anxiety that comes from having gone out and feeling like you've exposed yourself. And like we talked about earlier, having taken all the precautions, but there's something that still has you at an unrest about it. So
Right.
definitely. As far as loneliness or anything like that, I think Emmanuel and we've stayed pretty active even with each other, just trying to stay entertained at home. I don't think I felt lonely. I wouldn't use the word lonely, but I
Mhm.
definitely felt socially isolated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can understand that.
yeah,
So what? Go ahead.
no, you go.
Okay, so tell me, like, I know that we want to share about how we deal with it. So I guess, I know that you are like, to me, Miss Positivity. You really are. You've always been super inspirational to me. So, tell me the ways that you personally deal with, the
Oh my
stress.
gosh. I definitely, it goes into that positivity that you were talking about. I definitely delve into all the things. Like I started to do yoga a lot more, and I've actually gotten my 200-hour teacher training certification now. So I'm a registered yoga teacher now. So I was able to dive into that and start doing yoga a lot more, even though I've been doing it for uh, about 5 years now. It was something that I've been wanting to do, so I did that. I took a well-being class that just talked all about happiness and what really makes us happy, and I got that certification. So I dive into things that keep me positive and keep me happy. So yoga, the well-being class, I started a a a group, I guess I'll say, which is I do different challenges where I encourage not only everybody else, I put it out there into the world to uplift others, but it also helps me. Like when I post these things, they're like positive affirmations for me. Waking up and telling people you are a badass and whatever happens today, you are going to overcome it. If you're trying to achieve something, you're going to achieve it. That's affirmation and positivity for me too, and I share it with the world, and so I get a high from that too. There's just so much I've been doing. I did my gratitude journal. I was doing regular journaling and meditation, and then I thought I've been focusing so much on gratitude and just being grateful over the last year and a half on focusing in on gratitude and gratefulness for everything that's happening in my life, even in 2020, even though this has been a crazy year, gratitude. And so I created a gratitude journal, again, something that I can use, but I share it with the world also, and they can use it. So I've just been just like encouraging myself, encouraging others, and diving into those things that are helping me learn more about myself, and then I can share it with people so that they can learn more about themselves also. I know that's
That's
a lot, but that's what I've been doing.
I mean, it's awesome because, if you think about it, the steps that you're taking are accomplishments. Like you are accomplishing, you are channeling all of the things that could potentially be negative and turning it completely into something that's an accomplishment,
Yeah.
and that's huge. That's very big of you. And like it's actually, very inspiring.
Well, thank you. One of the reasons that I created my gratitude journal is really I came up with the idea in 2020. It's like there's so much going on this year. There's so much for us to say, oh, this is just a horrible year, and we get stuck in this rut of where we're only focusing on all of the bad things, all of the negative things, all that COVID-19 has taken away from us. And I'm like, yeah, but what has it given you the opportunity to do? Have you spent more time with your husband? Have you spent more time with your children? Have you started to communicate more? Have you realized that that person in your life is not meant to be in your life? Like they're not, whatever it is, there's so much positivity going on around us. And I want us to be able to focus on that as opposed to all of the other things that 2020 has brought as well. So that's really where that stemmed from. And I'm excited to be able to share that.
That's awesome because I'm a firm believer in all of that as well. Like I'm all about gratitude and positive and affirmations and channeling things into a positive place. And it's like until you stop, I feel like like this year we were meant to stop and take a look at our lives.
Yes.
Yeah, and really, like you're saying, focus in on, okay, well, maybe I'm not around that many people, but who are the people that I'm actually around?
Exactly.
Maybe I've been overlooking all of these blessings that are literally right here in front of my face the whole time.
Yes.
And instead of, looking for something else, it makes you realize what you have and really what's most important in our lives.
Yeah.
And it forced us to be around our family, the people that we are around the most, that we love the most, that we see every day, that we sometimes take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it gave us so much more time. I know there are people who, work from home, and I feel for those people who did, lose their job and couldn't work for a while. There are a lot of people that have lost things in this year. But has it opened up any other doors for you? Has it opened up, has maybe that job was a dead end job anyway. What has it opened up for you now? What is it giving you the opportunity to do now? And so 2020 has definitely forced us to think outside of the box and also take a look at what's right in front of you.
Right, right. And for me, the way I typically handle stress is a lot of the same things that you do, like, but in my own way. So, and I think that everybody should do that, some version of
Yes.
what makes you happy.
It's not going to
So,
look like mine or yours. Do what makes you happy.
exactly. Like one of the things that I personally do, and I've been doing this at least for the past few years, is when I start to feel down or if I'm in a rut, I find a challenge. I also go to Pinterest, and y'all, like, I know that I personally would spend hours on Pinterest looking for positive quotes, positive affirmations, things that literally put me in a good mindset. So, like, if I find, I would save, like, my phone would be filled with pictures because all I was doing was saving quotes, and things that motivated me and gave me a little kick in the booty, or, something that said, hey, find the joy in the day. And
Yeah,
once you start to listen or read those things constantly, it tricks your brain into believing it.
exactly.
And like you, I do the same thing where it's, if it's serving me well and it's doing something that is lighting my fire or that's making me happy or pulling me out of a funk, you can't help but share it.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to share that, with your people, with, social media is so huge right now because in the pandemic, that's where a lot of people have turned to. It's
Exactly.
social media, and that's, if you're able to put out something positive that people can cling on to, that's a good thing. Unlike you though, like, where as you started going into yoga, I was so used to going into Pure Barre.
Yes.
And that was part of my social interaction. I did work out a lot up until, it was almost time for me to have the baby.
Mhm.
And after I was prepping for the baby, I like to decorate. So, like, decorating, like, finding different ways to channel that energy.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I baked too.
yeah.
I was, but at one point I was like, I can't keep baking. I keep gaining weight. Like I can't. I have to eat all of this baked stuff.
You, next up is going to be LaShonda's cookbook.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was like
I'm claiming
baking
it.
everything, girl.
And Nick needs to make a cookbook because he started cooking a lot.
Yes,
He always cooks. But like, those are the things I think in this pandemic is what you do. You find the things that are making you happy. Like for me too, I'm very social media driven. Like I love, like I do my business there and doing quick lives, like a Facebook live.
yeah,
I find that kind of how you put out, the quotes and things, and same with me, is the more you put out there and you start to share, it actually does something for you too.
yeah,
Like, it's through the lives and honestly through this podcast and through so many things, the things that we share, like, they lift you up. And it's just a cycle where
yeah,
you hope that it lifts somebody else up, but at the same time, it's serving you just as much as it's serving someone else.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
yeah.
It sounds like we've been doing some really good things to cope.
It sounds like it. So I hope this helps somebody out there,
I
that's
hope so
feeling.
too. I
Yeah,
hope so too.
I do want to say this because I know that everybody handles their stress differently.
Yeah,
And there are times where I can honestly say that I wasn't in this place. I wasn't in this place right where I am now to be able to channel, those stressful thoughts or stressful moments into something, positive. And back when I wasn't in that frame of mind, because I've had, back when I was in college, actually, I was getting ready to get married. I had a lot of life changes and a lot of things that were hitting me at once. So I'm sharing that to say that it is okay to get help. I personally have, experienced like a panic mode where I had to call and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs, they have these programs that are free of charge. So, if you're out there and you're dealing with something, definitely don't be afraid to talk to somebody. I'm sitting here today and I'm telling you that I have had to do it myself. Go and ask for help if you're not feeling, or if you just need to cry. Talking to a therapist doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that there's something good and right in you, that that what you're feeling is not normal.
Exactly.
So know that asking for help is almost like the best thing you can do for yourself. So I do hope that, in sharing the things that we do to cope, you also know that if you just aren't there yet, that it's okay to ask for help. And we did look up a hotline. If there's somebody out there that's listening to this, it's a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, y'all. And we are sharing this just because it was really the best thing that we could find. I'm so certain that there's so many others out there. And, like I said, check with your job, check with people that but this one, it's 1-800-273-TALK. And again, that's 1-800-273, it's 8255. So if you're out there and, you're feeling stressed, then, there are some people out there that can help you.
Yes, thank you for that. And I 100% agree with everything that you just said. And as a therapist, like you said, that as a therapist myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, everything that you're feeling doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. If there have been times where I have only wanted to stay on the couch,
Mm-hmm.
only wanted to stay in the bed. Like I didn't want to. I'm a social butterfly, and I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to be around people, and so it takes all the strength in the world to realize that something is off with me, something is off with my body, something is not normal. And again, it doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. It means that you know that something is just off within your body. And it takes a big, big step to ask somebody for that help. So always know that there are hotlines out there that can help you. Your primary care providers can direct you to where you need to be. Talk to your family. It every People are here for you. There are so many people here for you, so many people rooting for you. And I'm saying this because if you are one of those people that are listening to us and you're sitting on the couch right now and you don't feel like you can get off the couch and you don't feel like you can be around anybody or go on, um, we love you. We're here for you. And we hope that you pick up the phone and that you call somebody, whether it's the National Suicide Prevention Line or if it's a family member that can come over and sit with you and talk to you. Just pick up the phone. Pick up the phone, and because we love you and we want you here.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. All right, y'all. So I think that is the end of this episode. So we hope somebody, found some value out of this, and, it's able to help somebody in their daily lives.
Yeah.
So, Shonda, what do you have coming up?
Awesome. Before I tell you what I have coming up, I do want to add one more thing. I just want to say also, um, as we move through this pandemic, there has been, changes in the laws and rules and regulations right now, and it's a little bit more free for people to go out. And so I want you to remember that we let's not be judgmental of those people who um, need that social interaction. There are some people who um, go and see their family and go and see their friends, or they go out to have dinner at a restaurant, and that's okay because that's what they need. And
Right.
if you want to be at home and you stay at home, that's what you need. And so we just have to be careful and understand that the way people move through this pandemic is okay for them. And we have to allow them to do that because we don't know what's going on in their personal life. We don't know what's going on in their home. We don't know what's going on with them mentally and emotionally. And so let's be understanding and give grace and know that this won't look the same for any of us because we've not gone through it before. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Well said.
thank you. I just wanted to drop that there because I know that can happen sometimes, and people can be guilt tripped a little bit uh, on how they're living their life or moving through this pandemic. So, nonetheless, what do I have going on? I have coming up my women's conference that's going to be on November 14th. And if this is after November 14th, you probably missed it. But November 14th is going to be the women's conference. If you are interested in the women's conference and you're not here in San Antonio, I am also going to be sharing a link with you because it's also going to be available virtually. So you can watch from anywhere in the world via the link. And so I'll make sure that we attach that link here on YouTube. Try to go back and attach it to some of our other videos too, if we can. So that way you can get your virtual ticket if you want to do that. And then on, I think that's the 14th. And then on the 15th, I'm going to be doing chat with the author. I'll be talking about my journal and I'll be talking about my book. If you're interested in getting copies of those, you can always go to my website, which is www.lhollandsspeaks. That's L and my last name, speaks.com. And you can get my journal there. You can get my book there, read my blogs. You can also be directed to our podcast as well, all from my website. So those are the main two things that I have coming up in the month of November. Angie, what about you?
Awesome. Well, you can call me an elf. I am Miss Holiday Cheer.
Drop
That
it here.
that's what I have going on all month long. So as you are preparing for your holiday shopping, we've got so many holiday collections that are available. I'm a beauty guide with Lime Life by Alcon, which actually it's skincare, so natural ingredient skincare that is effective. It works, you guys. So some natural ingredient skincare. Professional grade makeup is what we have. And we also have like candles. We've got some awesome new scents. We've got some men's fragrances and a men's line. So men's facials, they need to take care of their skin as well. So all of the products are available on my website. It's arobertson.com. I also can help with like skincare consultations or makeup consultations, and I'm starting to do those virtually. So if you are wanting to sign up for those, I'm actually giving some complimentary consults. So all you have to do is email me at Angie, Angie, at arobertson.com to schedule one, and you can visit my website. So that's what I've got going on.
Well, thank you very much, Angie, for all of that Christmas joy that you have coming our way. All the
Yes,
Christmas
girl.
gifts we need. Well, I think that wraps everything up. Just want to say we appreciate all of you for watching, for listening in. Please go to our YouTube page and hit subscribe. Follow us on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts as well. And hit subscribe there also. Thank you so much for tuning in, and y'all have a good day. Bye.
Bye.